Melanie, welcome to the Rain or Shine podcast. I know you mentioned you were feeling a little nervous, and I have told you on this show there's nothing to be nervous about. It is just two people having a conversation on a morning leading up to Christmas. So let's keep it casual, let's keep it fun. Let's start with some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm curious because you are busy, you have a part-time job, you have your coaching business. I know you have a lot of personal hobbies that you are committed to. What is your favorite way to wind down after a super busy week where you've been up early, you've been working hard, you've been serving and pouring into other people? How do you wind down after a crazy week?
This is going to sound super lame, but I actually watched The Young and the Restless.
I love that. My mom loved that show growing up. Every day she was watching it.
So my mom and I watch The Young and the Restless together, and then I usually do some coloring. I love coloring, so I just bought myself a new coloring book and new pencil crayons, and I'll color and listen to a podcast or just watch some sort of Netflix show. So that's what I do to wind down.
I honestly couldn't relate more. Like my treat to myself is being able to sit down, watch a good show, maybe do some coloring too, like just to kind of distract myself and have a creative outlet or something to do with my hands so that I'm not like eating popcorn in front of the TV. But isn't it funny as we get older, sometimes the most nourishing things are like the simple pleasures that we don't have infinite time for. So it feels like such a treat to put on the show and just like feel like it's a bit of self-care, right?
It really does.
I'm curious, what's one thing you do every single day that you would say is non-negotiable because it makes you the best version of yourself?
Wash my face before bed. And I talk about this all the time about building habits because I hate doing it. I dislike the washing the face. I get water all over the sink. I get it all over my hands, all over my shirt. I am not a person who can wash her face and not make a mess. So every night I wash my face and I remind myself that I can do hard things. And I know these are the things that are simple but not easy.
hmm But it's so true. And I think that's so relatable because we all have that thing, whether it's brushing our teeth or like cleaning the dishes before bed or folding laundry or washing your face, that it's just like almost like a little daily annoyance, but we feel better by doing it. And we have to build habit around it. Otherwise, you break out in zits every day, right?
It's
So,
And I imagine how I'm going to feel after every time. Like my pillow will be clean. It's going to be
yeah.
so nice.
Yeah, I actually want to extract something quickly there. Like for the person who is constantly struggling with themselves, like, well, I really don't want to wash my face because I'm tired and it makes a mess over the sink. What is that shift that they need to make to build the habit in that moment?
Mine is the morning. When I wake up in the morning, I really dislike the feeling of having mascara on my face and it looks like you just woke up after a night out or something.
Yep.
And I love waking up feeling refreshed. And so it's that feeling of the pain of not doing it is worse than just going and doing it. And then I wake up feeling like I don't know, it's a fresh new day and my face is clean and that's why I do it every single night. I never miss it. I don't miss a night and I never want to do it. So those
Hmm.
are one of those habits that there are habits you're never going to want to do. And I do it anyways because I want that feeling in the morning to feel really good.
Hmm. I feel like this is so practical and applicable to so many areas of our life. It's like, for example, like I post a blog every single week for my business. And do I want to do it? Not always, but it's something that I know will advance my vision towards my goals. And it's like, yes, I don't necessarily like wake up brimming to write the blog and post it and do that every week, time after time after time. But when I visualize, like, how does this all compound into the business being better or like me being healthier or whatever we're talking about here? Sometimes that helps you stay connected to the goal. So, yeah, I just think that's so practical because there are so many habits that we don't love doing, but we love the feeling of being on the other side of them, right?
Yeah, it's future. It's the future you. What will future me say about this?
Yeah. Oh, I love this so much. And we'll definitely dive in more to habits and your tips around that shortly. What's the most unexpected or unusual job you've ever worked? Because I feel like you have like a pretty diverse work history and background.
Um, I actually there's two jobs actually. One was I was working at the Legion for 50 plus singles night and I did the front door and they play anyway, it was all 50 plus singles, something I'd never experienced before. And I don't know how I got that job at the Legion. It was when I was in college
That's
and
funny.
probably needed some extra money. So that was one weird one. But the coolest job I think I've ever had was working at a heli skiing lodge where I got to, when I was working out west, I got to helicopter into work, stay at the lodge for 2 weeks, helicopter home for 7 days off, and you got to ski with the guests. So,
Oh
and all
my
I did
God.
was do laundry. I did laundry, but I also got
Heck,
to eat with the guests, ski with the guests. Yeah, it was really fun.
what a dream job. Oh man, why did you ever leave that job?
It was also a party job. So,
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that era of life.
yeah,
I used
yeah.
to work a job like that in Switzerland too, where I got to like snowboard all day. We'd go out and party all night, and then I had to watch kids
Hmm.
during the day.
Yeah,
I was like, it's worth it.
it was a good time for sure.
So good. Okay, Mel, I want to kind of backtrack on your story a little bit. So, can you take us back to 2019? You describe it as a year when everything seemingly collapsed. Can you bring us back? What was going on at that time in your life? I know at some point in the depths of your challenges in 2019, you made a massive 10K investment that was scary. So let's just go back there. Give us the rundown of what was going on that year.
Oh man, so I had moved to a small northern Ontario town. I had just come back from working overseas, and I was like, yes, this is the place it's going to be. I bought all my furniture. I bought a washer and dryer. Like I was committed to living here. And I was dating someone at the time, and I thought life was going okay. And then I ended up leaving my job that I thought I was going to stay at. And as my boyfriend at the time showed up at my house and loaded all of my things into his truck, told me that he didn't want to date anymore. I was moving very close to
Okay,
him.
how kind.
Yeah, so it was just one of those moments. I was drinking too much. I was overweight. I all of a sudden all these things I had dreamed for myself were falling apart and I didn't know what to do next. I honestly was just I was at a loss because I thought I had it figured out. I think back now, I'm like, that's so silly that, life always changes. But
Yeah.
sometimes the universe, throws things in your way and you get to choose which direction you're going to go. And in every time I've hit a low point in my life, I've done something to pivot. But this time I was like, I need something different. I need something that is like this was my anxiety, what I didn't know I had back then. So anxiety was like, this is all or nothing. You are going all in to change your life. So I invested the 10K with a life coach, and it was meeting every week for 30 minutes. And I moved back in with my family for support. And just took that opportunity to really rebuild a life that I was designing. And at that time, I got introduced to a network marketing company, which changed everything for me as well. There was so much personal development with a side of selling. If anyone
Mhm.
who's done network marketing and dove in, there is so much personal development there for you. And so I was coaching, I was doing personal development, I quit drinking. Yeah, so I could go on because I think but that is where I was at, was in this like deep, dark, I don't even know what to do, go back, regroup with my family, and invested heavily in myself.
Hmm. What do you think it was about? Because making a $10,000 investment, deciding to not just wallow in the pain of having your life ripped up from under you. I'm curious, do you remember what encouraged you to make that leap and to say, I'm going to try this thing called life coaching. I'm going to show up and make a decision right now, put money on the line to change my life. What inspired you to do that? Can you take yourself back to the moment when you're like, this is why I'm going to do this, or what you were thinking about at that time?
Well, there's a visual. I was like wrapped in a towel, crying on the side of my
Oh,
bed, hungover. I was like
okay.
so
Yeah.
hungover and
Mm,
thinking, this can't be it. Like, this cannot be where I'm at in my life.
yeah.
I've traveled the world. I've done really cool things. I'm good at what I do. How can I be sitting here in a puddle? you
Hmm.
know and that was, and at some point, I don't know if someone had sent me a podcast or had sent me something with Tony Robbins, I don't know,
Okay.
but that was like what I was listening to, and it was like he's an all or nothing dude as well. If you ever listen to Tony Robbins, it's like you go all in when you do his stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like you had to make three, part of the program was you had to make three commitments to yourself.
Okay.
And the three things I did was break up with my boyfriend,
Okay.
move back in with my family, and invest in the coaching. And so those were the
Wow.
three massive shifts, and I did it. And from then forward, it was building momentum, one step at a
Mhm.
time, one habit at a time. And looking back, I can see that, that first workout and that first day of eating healthy and that first day of, not drinking and taking responsibility for my emotions, it was not easy. And I understand why people avoid it
Yep.
because it hurts and it's painful. But there comes a point in your life when the pain is so bad that you just can't do it anymore. And
Mhm.
you have to change or you just get lower. And we get to choose our low point. And for me, that was the breaking point for me was my health and just unable to get off the floor and I had to do something about it.
Mm. Yeah, you mentioned something there of like you just had to like choose a few habits and start building momentum. And I almost got this visual of a flywheel. It's like you could be at rock bottom, which it sounds like you were at a pretty low point in your towel on the edge of the bed, crying, weeping, right? Like that's a visual and almost a moment that I think a lot of us have had those moments in life. And it's like we can't see the path forward necessarily, but we know that we need to do something different. And it's like you take these baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. And then all of a sudden the flywheel starts churning. And then when you look back, you go, oh, yeah, it took me starting those tiny little things. And then the momentum starts building, which is hard to see at the time. But I think that's exactly what habits are, right? Like they feel
Hmm.
hard and sticky at the beginning. They might feel like a small shift you're making that who knows what impact it'll have. But eventually, all those little micro habits compound and you don't even recognize the person you once were, right?
Hmm. It's so important. I think we underplay the importance of micro habits because
Yeah.
it is those small things that are building that momentum over time.
Hmm. So you go through this 1 year coaching program with Tony Robbins, which I know many people who have been through that and they cannot speak highly enough of it. Like I think there's just something so powerful about having that external support and guidance and someone to hold you accountable. And somewhere along the journey of the last 5 years, you also then decided to launch your own business as a habits and accountability coach. So can you kind of take us
Hmm.
back to the moment when you had such a personal transformation that you said, now I want to help others with this? What inspired you to make that decision to start your own business?
I think that it started with network marketing. With the business that I was with, it was incredibly amazing. And I know a lot of people don't have great experiences with network marketing. However, this was a very female-driven network marketing company with very powerful
Yep.
female leaders who taught us about tuning in, taught us about energy, taught us about mindset and the way you show up. And they taught us about the importance of course, it was health and wellness supplements.
Yep.
And it was like, how are you showing up for yourself? And I was sitting in my parents' garage on the daily, like at my computer, doing the courses, learning so many things that I now take into this business of my own.
Yep.
And I thought, I want to share this.
Mm,
And what started happening was I wanted to share me and not the supplements. So I
mm,
didn't want to, I loved the supplements and loved the whole product, but I wanted the product to be me. And I realized I wanted to work with people and help them build that self-trust, confidence, self-esteem that I was getting through the coaching with Tony Robbins, through the network marketing company, through doing the work, through the journaling and the reflection and the exercise and the nutrition. And this was years, of building these small micro habits that took me off the floor and have kept me coming back again over and over. So I started that during COVID. I originally started my coaching business during then to get away from product selling and selling myself. Selling
Mm.
myself,
Selling myself, selling
promoting
my body.
myself, selling my body online. So doing the coaching because I found it so incredibly motivating.
It's crazy because I think so many female entrepreneurs, they start their journey in network marketing. And that's my story as well. About 8 years ago, I joined my first health and wellness network marketing company just out of a passion for the product. But like you said, some people have bad experiences, but I just found it to be this rocket ship of free content in the personal development realm. And it's like just forced you to get better and to learn. And I found community and friends and conferences and events. And I was learning so much through that business model. And so, yeah, I just think it's interesting that so many of us started our journey there. And that actually inspired us to want even more and to either close down that business and start something different. But it's such a great stepping stone for anyone who wants
Hmm.
to get into entrepreneurship, but they want to do it in a lower risk way, right? Like not start a brick and mortar or not immediately go all in. So yeah, I just think it's reflecting on that it's such a great entry point into running a business.
Definitely.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what habits coaching is. So now, today, you work with clients, you have an incredible personal brand online. You are actually teaching people how to build habits that stick. You're an accountability coach. From a practical standpoint, like, why do people hire you? What types of challenges are they coming to you with? And like, what are some of the transformations that people would see in working with you?
Many people who come to me are really struggling with fitness and nutrition, and I think that is
Yeah.
because I share a lot about fitness and nutrition on my Instagram, and it's the consistency over time. And they believe that they have to do it by themselves because, it's like, well, I should just be able to work out. I should just be able to eat well. Well, if we could, we all would be. We'd all be working out 5 days a week and eating, all the delicious, healthy food. And it isn't that easy. And when you think back to being a kid or growing up, you've always had someone holding you accountable, whether it's been a coach or a teacher or a friend or a parent or a mentor. We have these people that have been supporting us, and then you become an adult and it's like, okay, do it on your own. And we learned, or I've been learning, and people learning that through community, through accountability, through having that support system and in place allows you to build these small habits over time. And some of my clients, some of the habits, it often starts with fitness and nutrition, and so they come in and we build a small habit. So if you have not been working out at all, we'll say, hey, let's do 2 days a week for 20 minutes. And we'd start talking about what time of day would work for you, how many days, what type of exercise. Let's ease into this, instead of the often, it's January 1st and I'm going to work out 5 days a week. And then you go for a month if you're lucky, and then it's 2027, So
Yep.
we don't want to do the all or nothing. We just want to take these small habits. And I think what was missing for me through my original coaching with Tony Robbins was the self-love feminine side of coaching. It was a
Mm.
very masculine energy. And when I work with women now, most of the women I work with are 40 plus or 45 plus,
Yep.
many retired. And it's taking that moment to, instead of getting angry with yourself for not doing it, understanding why, and that you've been through a lot in your life, and that change is hard, and that doing these self-love things doesn't always mean pushing harder. It could mean
Mm.
slowing down. It could mean going for a walk. It could be writing an apology letter. And
Yep.
so over time, as we coach together, there has been the pant size reduced because they consistently show up for fitness. There
Mhm.
has been an increased confidence in who they are. There's a realization that it wasn't about the fitness and nutrition, it was the
Mm.
mindset behind it. It was how you were feeling about yourself not showing up. It's the same thing as if a friend breaks a promise to you, it hurts. And it's the same thing when we break a promise to ourselves. It
Mm.
hurts and it hits our self-confidence. And so over time with someone in your corner, I'm in your ear and I'm checking in on you 2 days a week and we meet every other week, you start to believe in yourself and you can show up for yourself. And the days you don't want to, you're like, oh, I gotta tell Melanie,
Yep.
I gotta tell her that I'm not gonna do this. And it just the systems that we set up to build the habits are not all or nothing. So you have a very higher chance of being successful because we stack them over time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's such a refreshing perspective to hear that you have this softer side to habits, that it's not always about pushing harder or blaming yourself or shaming yourself, because I think at this point we've all realized that doesn't work. And even I was just having a conversation with some clients about the fact that, like, we're recording this between kind of Christmas and New Year's, and a bunch of them were saying, I'm tired. I feel like I need to slow down, but I also just like, I need to keep pushing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, no, no. Wait, maybe the best thing you can do is be a little more gentle on yourself and the kind of slow down to eventually speed up. And it's not always about pushing through on the days when you're not feeling it, right? Like clearly that
Hmm.
approach is not working. So, on that topic, what is a mistake that you see a lot of people make as it relates to not being able to stick with their habits? Like, if you were to kind of boil it down to one thing that for the listener, you're like, this might be the thing that is holding you back from implementing a habit that sticks, what might that be?
Honestly, I think it's an accountability partner.
I agree. Oh my God, I totally agree.
I really feel like you can if you could do it alone, you would.
You would have. Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
would have done it already. And I think that in this area of, building habits and accountability, it's seen as like I should be able to do it on my own. And we just said you would have. And
Yeah.
so I think one is mindset and belief in yourself. And the second one is until you have, it took me a year of coaching to
Yeah.
get those habits down. And that is why I'm where I am today, because I had a year of someone, holding me accountable. It
Yeah.
wasn't 1 week or 1 month, it was a
Hmm.
12 months. And so that's what I love about my coaching is, most of my clients are on month 3 right now, and we're really starting to see the difference where we're getting through Christmas together now, where,
Yes.
it's a bit harder during Christmas time. And so it's like, just take it easy on yourself. It's okay. And
Hmm.
seeing and hearing people say, I didn't work out this week, but I did get out for a walk and I did spend time in nature. And, acknowledging the good things they did instead of the beat myself up and then eat a whole cake or something.
Yeah. Hmm.
I think that's the piece that's missing is having someone hold you accountable that's not your bestie.
Mm. Yeah, that's so true. I think there's something around the line of like when you pay attention. Like when you pay someone to hold you accountable, it's a different level of structure. And yeah, you just feel like you don't want to let that person down because you've put money on the line, right?
Hmm.
Speaking of putting money on the line, I know you made some big investments in your business. I want to talk a little bit about the business that you're building and how you're doing it in addition to working a part-time teaching job. So, first off, can you just tell us a little bit about how you structure your weeks right now? Because I know you're up early, you're recording Instagram stories, you're pouring into the business, then you go to your teaching job, then you come home, you have clients, you have to take care of yourself. I think for a lot of our listeners, they're in a very similar boat right now where they're building their dream or they're building a business, but they're also still working, whether it's 20, 30, 40 hours at another job, and they're feeling like it's really hard to balance their time. So I'd love to hear from you on that topic of how you're able to quote unquote balance it and make sure you show up for what's important for you in a week.
I think that what's really cool about part-time teaching, which I never thought, I didn't even know it was really an option
Yeah.
until it was. And
Hmm.
I did the part-time teaching and it holds me accountable to the business because when we have all day to do something, we take all day to do it. And
True.
so, right? And so I am held accountable, one, by you because I coach with you as well. And then two, by having to go to work at 11. And so I have to get all the things I need done in the morning because I know that I don't love doing things in the evening. So there's a time frame, and it is so helpful for me to have that time frame and set those habits. And recently, I had to make a big decision about those morning habits because my morning routine, for anyone who's building healthy habits, the my morning routine is precious, very, very, very precious to me. I've had the same routine for almost 8 years. I get up at 4, I journal, I have a coffee, I work out, and then I get on with my day. And it was not like that for the past few months because I was teaching fitness classes very early in the morning. And so
Mhm.
I noticed when I took that routine away, as many of you know, when you take out the fitness or you take out something, all of a sudden other areas of your life start to change and spiral. So to balance my energy, to make sure I'm showing up at my teaching job as well as this business, I had to let go of something. And so the morning job had to go in order to keep that energy in the morning, to set that intention for my day and show up with all I can for my business because that is what I want ultimately is this to succeed and be my main source of income. While I am so fortunate that part-time teaching pays well
Yep.
and is a shorter amount of hours. So and I love the change. I'm actually someone who thrives on doing multiple things. I get bored
Yep.
easy.
Yep.
So this has been the ultimate when I don't want to do it, when I'm like, what am I doing? I just want one job. I just want one job. I just want to think about one thing. And I'm like, and then you would be bored.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm so happy you shared that because I think there is this common mentality of like when you're starting a business, just leap and the net will appear. Like quit the teaching job, quit everything and just go all in. But for a lot of people, that's not the right structure for the first few years while they're figuring things out, testing their messaging, seeing which clients are paying for their services, which offers are working, which lead generation strategies, right? And so I think what you're doing is very similar to how I started building my business as well, is, mitigate the risk by holding on to that part-time job and knowing that you have the structure there, and then also finding those pockets of time. And I think the biggest kind of thing that I took away from what you shared is that when we have constraints around anything, it actually makes the process easier. So, what you said around, I only can work on my coaching business until 11 a.m. Having that constraint actually gives us so much more structure and almost creativity within that constraint. Or, just as another example, if somebody's like, okay, I have to work on marketing on Mondays, you go sit down and you're like, I have no idea what to focus on. But if the constraint is, I start by writing down 10 crazy ideas and then I pick one of them and I actually take it to the finish line by the end of the day on Monday. Or I write down 3 Instagram post ideas and I have to create one every 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, I have to publish it. So it's like that simple constraint actually helps us to operate more effectively in smaller pockets of time. So I'm assuming that's the same with habits too. It's like if you say you're going to go to the gym, you should probably time block it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, so many good tips there. What would you say is like the hardest part about balancing a part-time job, a coaching business, and taking care of yourself?
I'd have to say that it has been maintaining my healthy habits. That has been
Yeah.
hard because it's the first thing to go is the exercise. But,
Yeah.
it's the thing I need the most. And for
Mm,
many people, it could be different things. For me, it's running. And I find I get so many creative ideas running. And before we recorded this, I made sure I went for a run because
yep.
I feel the freshest. I feel most rejuvenated. I
Yep.
feel ready to take on the day. I have all this like runner's high after that people talk about. And so, again, it's remembering and using those strategies that I know because I want to show up for this podcast my best self. I want to
Hmm.
show up and talk and have that energy. And so I do the things I know are going to help me in that situation. So,
Hmm.
was I circling back to? I think I went on a tangent there. Sorry.
I don't even remember. The hardest thing I think
Oh,
about
yeah.
balancing it
Is
all.
is taking time for yourself because there's never an end to the to-do list. There's
Yep.
never, there's always something new. There's always something new on it. Learning with anxiety
Yep.
how to not finish a to-do list
Yeah.
and put it away half done has been
Yep.
really interesting.
Oh, that's so, so relatable, especially the part about like making sure that the run is not the first thing to go when you're like, well, I have to work on the business and conquer the to-do list. But sometimes it's like, oh, the most important thing I can do is go for that run or take that hour and go sit in a coffee shop and not work or answer emails. So that's something I feel like I had to learn the hard way a few years ago when I was just like, every hour that I have childcare is about like pouring into the business. And I'm like, no, if I want to go for a hike with my dog, that is equally as important to the business success as me sitting
Hmm.
down and like hammering, computer workout. So yeah, and now it's become a habit where I, have that time scheduled in on certain days of like go walk the dog and enjoy a podcast. And it becomes a habit because I know how good it makes me feel on the other side. So yeah, it started as something that felt hard, but now it's just like an anchor in my work week.
Hmm.
So, as you know, the name of this podcast is Rain or Shine. So, I'm curious, how do you keep going on rainy days? So, that might be a day when you're like, I just don't want to do my workout. That might be oh my God, business is hard or teaching is hard. What keeps you going on those days when it just feels a little stormy?
I think that it's been all the mindset work that I've had going on behind the scenes. And so that takes practice. And it
Yeah.
is a practice, which I think people need to remember is that it's not perfection, it's
Yep.
practice. And
Mhm.
when I talk to clients, it's reminding them that, they'll say, oh, you're gonna I'm gonna get in trouble. I didn't do this or whatever. And I'm like, no, no, like this is what life is.
Yeah.
And if I need to get something done, then I will tell myself, I know
Mhm.
you don't want to do this. I just acknowledge it. Okay, part of me doesn't want to do this, and I'm going to do it anyways. And
Yep.
if it's not the moment or I start doing it, I've heard you talk about this in a podcast before, is like if you start doing it and it's not flowing, then take a break and
Yep.
walk away.
Totally.
And if it is flowing because you started that momentum, then go and do it. So the
Yep.
rainy days is coming back to my why, my building community, getting out of the teaching industry in terms of like in an educational setting.
Yep.
It's, wanting my to take my nieces on a trip to like Paris one day and pay for their flights and,
Love that.
thinking about investing in their college fund or university fund one day and, taking a family trip. Those are things I think about. And then I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, you have to write the Instagram post. Like if you
Yep.
want to do those cool things, you have to do this stuff you don't want to do.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, it's like such simple advice, but like you said, sometimes it's the easy stuff that it's hard to hold ourselves accountable to, right? But at the end of the day, it's like sometimes we have to say, screw my mood, just keep following the plan because I know what the outcome will be if I keep showing up for this. So, yeah, and there's a time and place to say it's not flowing right now, like you said. If it's not feeling good, but you took action and started, that's okay. If you say, I'm going to work out, maybe go work out for a minute. And if it's not flowing, go home. But at least you stuck to the habit and like gave yourself the kind of dopamine hit of like, I still did the thing that I said I was going to do. And I think, don't they say that confidence is built by keeping promises to yourself? And I think that like habits are built by keeping those promises to yourself as well.
I think people really underestimate that, that as you build, and I've seen it in all of my clients over the past 3 months, that as they have maintained and built these healthy habits over time,
Hmm.
they start to become so confident in who they are that, I have a client who's now starting her own business and she feels good in her jeans. And, all these things have come together because she remained consistent.
Yeah.
Other clients are like, I have a pause now between reaction and response. And they all also came to me with fitness and nutrition thinking that was the only thing they were
Wow.
going to fix.
Yeah.
And it actually hasn't been about that in the end,
Mhm.
which is like so incredibly cool. And seeing them get through their rainy days using strategy instead of, motivation, because, well,
Yeah.
we don't have a lot of motivation, but
Hmm.
yeah, the rainy days are coming back to that why. And rem and acknowledging the fact that you don't want to do it. We ignore that
Yeah.
so often. Like, I don't want to do it. I should be able to. No, you should.
Should on
Shouldn't.
yourself.
Yes, that was what I was trying to get out there. Thank you for getting that one. I
Uh,
think it's just reminding yourself it's okay to not want to do it, and then you do it anyways.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So good. Melanie, for anyone who's interested in finding out more about your work, maybe they would love to hear you on a podcast. I know you've toyed with the idea of starting one, but where should they connect with you? Where are the places where they can find out more and potentially reach out and book a free call with you?
Yeah, I have an Instagram. It's called Move Well with Melanie. So you can reach out to me there on Facebook, Melanie Killens. And I have a website, melaniekillenscoaching.ca. And all of these things are great ways to connect. I would love to connect with you. I love hearing all these stories and meeting people. Community is where I thrive. So I love it.
Amazing. And I will say your Instagram series, you do story time with Melanie. It's early in the morning. I'm always like, dang, she is so consistent with this. But it's cool because like I look forward to hearing what you're going to talk about each day and stories really resonate with me versus if you were just telling me like 5 ways to make a habit stick. So I would encourage everyone to
Mhm.
go follow your Instagram and tune into your content because you share it from such a relatable, genuine, down to earth perspective that yeah, it hits differently. It's not like you're coming at us being like, you all suck and I'm the expert. It's very much like, hey, here's what I had to do to overcome my lack of wanting to run today. I went out anyways, and
Mhm.
here's how I did it. So, yeah, some really good stuff over on your Instagram. So, I will plug that in the show notes. But thank you for being here, Melanie. So fun to chat with you. And we wish you all of the best into 2026 and beyond.
Thank you so much, Kelsey.